Picture a waiting room, a row of white plastic chairs, and one of the chairs is a flamingo. Not sitting on a chair, he is the chair, body flattened into a seat, wings tucked into a backrest. He has committed to this. Only the neck gave him trouble. The neck is just there, periscoping. And honestly, respect. This is not a lazy attempt. This flamingo has studied chairs, and it takes you, what, a quarter of a second? You didn't scan the row. You didn't check each chair. Your eyes went straight to him like he was glowing. Now here's the question this video is actually about. The flamingo failed instantly, and yet every single day, things far bigger and far stranger than a flamingo hide from you in plain sight and succeed. People, objects, entire events happening right in front of your face. So what did they figure out that the flamingo didn't? First, let's be honest about why our pink friend was doomed. Vision scientist Anne Treisman showed decades ago that some things pop out. One red shape among gray ones, one tilted line among straight ones. Your visual system finds it in a fraction of a second. And here's the wild part. It doesn't matter how many gray shapes there are. 5 chairs or 500. The flamingo pops out just as fast. Your brain doesn't search for him. He announces himself. And notice, the shape wasn't even his problem. He nailed the shape. But he's pink among white, feathered among plastic, breathing among furniture. Any one of those pops out on its own. He wasn't hiding. He was a notification, which tells us the rule he broke. Hiding isn't about being small or still or quiet. It's about something else entirely. Because now let me show you what successful hiding looks like. This is one of my favorite experiments ever run, and if you haven't heard it before, I promise it will bother you for the rest of the day. 1998, psychologists Daniel Simons and Daniel Levin. A researcher stops a stranger on a college campus and asks for directions. Normal conversation, face-to-face, a meter apart. Halfway through, 2 workmen carrying a door barge rudely between them. Excuse us, coming through. 2 seconds of door. And behind that door, the researcher is swapped for a completely different person. Different face, different height, different voice, different clothes. The new man picks up the conversation mid-sentence like nothing happened. About half the people didn't notice. They kept giving directions to a different human being, who they were looking directly at. Sit with that. A flamingo can't hide on a chair, but an entire person can be replaced, mid-conversation, at arm's length, and half of us just keep talking. So what's the difference? Why does the flamingo fail and the swap succeed? Here's the mechanism, and it connects to something we've talked about on this channel before. Your brain doesn't really watch the world. Watching everything all the time in full detail would be insanely expensive. Instead, it predicts the world, and then only checks the places where the prediction might fail. Person giving me directions. Prediction made, box ticked, resources moved elsewhere. As long as reality keeps matching the label, the brain doesn't re-inspect it. The swapped researcher didn't hide behind the door. He hid behind the label. He was still person giving directions, so the brain saw no reason to look again. The flamingo's mistake is suddenly obvious. He worked so hard on the shape, and shape was never the test. He needed to match the prediction, and the prediction was white, plastic, boring. He got the geometry right and violated everything else at once. Edgar Allan Poe wrote a whole story about this back in 1844. The Purloined Letter. The police tear an apartment apart looking for a hidden letter. Floorboards, cushions, chair legs. The letter is in the letter rack, in plain view, slightly crumpled. It was the only place they never checked, because a letter in a letter rack isn't hidden, so it can't be the one they're looking for. This is why a person in a high-vis vest with a clipboard can walk into almost any building on Earth. Nobody is ignoring them. Everybody is seeing them, filing them under expected, and moving on. The vest isn't camouflage. It's a label the brain accepts without opening the box. Now the serious minute, because this cuts both ways. Every con artist, every pickpocket, every magician is a professional student of exactly this. Magicians call it misdirection, but the honest name is prediction management. They don't hide the move from your eyes. They hide it from your forecast. The move happens in a moment your brain has already marked as nothing happening here. Scammers do the same with words instead of hands. The right jargon, the right confidence, the right vest. They don't sneak past your attention. They get filed as expected, and expected things don't get inspected. So the practical takeaway isn't trust nothing. It's smaller and more useful. The feeling of nothing unusual here is not evidence. It's just your forecast running on schedule. And the forecast only checks what it already doubts. But there's a gentler side to this, and I don't want to skip it. This same machinery is why you can drive home without memorizing every car, why the world feels stable instead of screaming. Your brain skips the expected so you can live. The system isn't a flaw, it's the price of having attention at all. So, back to our flamingo. Still in the waiting room, still holding the pose, still convinced it's going well. Here's the thing, he did everything hard about hiding and skipped everything that matters. The shape, the stillness, the commitment, all of it aimed at your eyes. But your eyes were never the gatekeeper. But the things that truly disappear never avoid your eyes. They walk straight into them, wearing exactly what your brain expected, and get waved through. The best hiding spot in the world isn't behind anything, it's inside your prediction of what's supposed to be there.